is Jaylan Franklin's progression? Where does he stand in terms of where Green Bay is?
Honestly, I think he's very similar to where Isaiah was a year ago. You know, physically, the body's still coming for him. You know, mentally, at times struggling. But then you watch him come off the edge, and he does some things that are special and get you excited. And so it's just continuing to push him. You know, every rep is a great rep for him, and a learning experience, and just learning how to win in all these situations. So, like I said, he has a tremendous thirst off the ball and a great energy at practice, and he's willing to work, and you got to do it.
What about Reggie Pearson and the leap that he's made? It seems like when there was a big hit in the spring, he was one of the guys delivering the blows. Is that physicality that stand out, or are there some other areas?
Yeah, Reggie has always been extremely physical. I think the maturity is kicked up tremendously. Last year, struggled. He was going to have a role and going through injuries and just kind of up and down. And mentally, it was a little bit hard on him. And then, in the spring, I think he really settled in and learned the game, learned what we do and why we do it. And he's playing really confident right now. The physicality's always been there from day one. So excited about that and just trying to expand what he can do and putting him in a lot of different situations right now to see what he can handle.
When you say mentally, was it dealing with injuries physically, or was it the playbook, or understanding that, or both?
I think a little bit of everything. Just the transition. He got injured late in the week going into week one and missed about a month. And I think school, everything, just the transition to college and in a number of different ways. And that was difficult when I think he saw opportunities and he was making the most of them. And all of a sudden, kind of going through that roller coaster in a season and getting on the field and starting a game and playing well and having another injury and a setback. So all that's extremely difficult on guys. And he said maturity-wise, he learned from that and he's grown and just loved his approach ever since the season ended last year.
With Keanu Benton, I saw giving some second-team reps at nose tackle. How has he progressed as a true freshman, and what have you seen to kind of put him in that spot so far?
First of all, physically, Keanu is impressive. He's a little bit of a puppy dog. Is trying to figure out where his body is at times, but he's a strong, powerful, athletic kid. Doing some really nice things for us. He's got to expand his knowledge. It's still early in camp. He's 11 practices into college football, so he's having some ups and downs. But physically, he's impressive at times.
What do you expect from Scott Nelson in year 2 of playing? Obviously Dakota's not there anymore, so is it the leadership thing? Is it some other things?
Scott is a pretty natural leader. To me, it's learning when to be a little bit more aggressive. He has a great understanding of football, communicates really well. To me, it's just taking that next step and being a playmaker. He's flashed it at times last year, really challenged him physicality and tackling. He struggled early in the season last year tackling and then went through an injury and fought through it for us. So I've liked his progress this camp. He's been a little quiet, but he hasn't missed opportunities. He's doing what he needs to do, and just want to continue to push him to lead that group.
CJ gets came here as an outside linebacker, moved to D-end, now looks like he's back at backer. What kind of a learning curve does he face to try to rediscover what he can do at that position?
Obviously, we like CJ. He flashes tremendous strength, pass rush ability. He's one of those kind of tweener bodies for us. We weren't sure exactly how he was going to mature and grow, and we feel like outside linebacker is going to be the best position for him. And we feel like we can, with the right development, can find him a role sooner than later. So I think the move has been good for him. It's new, it's a little big right now, but we're definitely excited about his ability.
You mentioned Benton. Do you have to push him a little bit quicker now with Gunnar out?
Yeah, I think all those young guys you're pushing quickly just to see. You never know. You're going to find out. You have to find out in a very short period of time what you can get them to understand and execute. And that goes for that whole freshman class, really. The guys that just got in town, it's a lot for them. And which one of those guys does the game slow down a little bit? Which one of those guys do they just play with confidence? And I think he's showing he can do that in certain situations, and obviously that's going to help him compete.
Coach, overall as a group, your guys made quite a few plays in practice today. Do you feel like they're at where they should be, 11 practices in preseason right now?
I like the progress we've made. The guys are competing. They're having fun, playing hard for us. We're not where we need to be week one, and we don't have to be right now. I think we've taken a big step forward as far as understanding our scheme and kind of how we attack people and kind of how we complement certain calls. I see that with a number of young players who I think at times last year were just playing and playing plays and not really thinking about situations. So anytime you get youth and you gain some experience, you have to find a way to turn that into confidence. If you can't turn it into confidence, you're still just in the same spot. And I see a lot of guys playing with a little bit different edge, a little bit different attention to detail, and I think that's showing up on the field in some competitive situations.
And you got some big personalities, I feel like, on your side of the ball as well. How do you kind of keep them like all chill a little bit?
To me, it's you let guys' personalities show if they can remain the same player. If they get to, they want to be the funny guy and their performance suffers because of it, or they want to be too cool, whatever that may be. If performance is affected by it, then it's a problem. If it's not, you let it go. And I like it. Guys communicate, talking, challenging each other. Well, that forces you to show up. The day you don't show up, everybody feels it. So I put a lot of pressure on them to just be the same guy. You can't pick and choose. If you're going to have that strong personality, have that strong personality every day, and it better be genuine. It better be confident.
You guys as a coaching staff, there was no turnover after last year, which is a bit of a rarity around here and in college football. How do you guys use that? How do you guys use that connectivity from last season as a staff to your benefit?
Oh, we've had a lot of conversations, and obviously some of it hasn't necessarily been put into to play because you haven't gotten to that next season. But we can either use that as a benefit or not. And I think we want to be conscious of that, and we know each other's strengths and weaknesses as a staff. We know what we do well and what we need help with, and if we're willing to communicate and really take the next step as a staff, that could be a huge benefit that not many programs get year to year.
When it comes to, I know you mentioned in the spring, the cornerbacks have taken steps from the year prior, but there's still some inconsistency. Have you seen more consistency from that group now? And what has stood out to you from the groups competing for, that group competing for first team reps or just reps in general?
I think there's more guys playing a little bit more consistent than the spring. I think everyone from last year has improved. You see areas of improvement. Competitive situations like this just get you to understand who trusts it. Who can trust it and when they're tired. Who can trust it when the lights are on, in their minds, right? A really competitive situation and trying to earn a role. These are invaluable reps for those kids and for the coaches to learn, how big of strides they've taken.
For those corners, are you going to keep mixing and matching them going forward, or are you really hoping to find two guys to step forward?
In a perfect world, you have two guys step forward and solidify those roles. This is the time to compete in camp. So our guys understand that. The last 5 or 6 practices, the next 5 or 6 practices are the time to showcase where you're at and really compete every day. So I like the approach. There's guys that are on the rise. There's guys that are, trending backwards, which happens every camp, and it's, can they continue to push? Can they continue to take the right steps, or can they stop the bleeding and get on the right track?
I'm going to go back to Isaiah Green just for a second. What do you like about the dynamic that he has with Zach Bond? Those two seem to get a lot of work on the sidelines together. Do they have a good relationship off the field that you see translate to on the field as well?
Yeah, what I've seen is just, Zach has taken a very mature kind of leadership role with Isaiah and with the rest of that group. Zach's been through things. He's matured tremendously in the last couple of years, and it's really fun to see him kind of take ownership of that room and pull guys along and help them out and give them tips. And I think Zach sees a lot of himself. I'm not physically obviously a different guy, but I think from a skill set wise, I think he sees some things in Isaiah that translates, so he's trying to help him out and maybe get him there a little faster than Zach was able to get there. So it's been fun from a coaching standpoint when you see, it's not always Coach April that has to step in. You're seeing some of the veterans on the team, step in and really grab guys and help them progress.
Sure. And Chris Orr obviously has such a strong voice for you guys on defense. Do you feel like Zach's voice is still heard and he's got a role in that as well?
Yeah, I think he does it in a different way. It's his personality and what he's comfortable with, but you feel it a lot more often. And it's awesome as a coach when you see a guy really kind of embrace the leadership role and understand how he has to do it and how it's really going to affect the team. And it's fun to watch.
From what have you seen from the other side of the line of scrimmage, Jack Coan? It seems like he's looking consistent with the drive, especially today. But what have you seen from your eyes as a former, NFL defensive back, now defensive coordinator? How has he looked compared to even the spring?
I think the first thing that I noticed from Jack is just composure. He knows this offense. He knows how to progress through the passing game, and he's making confident decisions, and he has arm talent. He can throw the ball. So I see big strides from last season. Obviously he was put in some tough situations. Majority of snaps he took, he didn't know he was the starter, and having an opportunity to game plan for him and see what his strengths are, and like I said, just his understanding of what we're trying to do on defense and how he's working through his progressions and confidently stepping into throws. I like to see it as a defensive coordinator for sure.